It's a delight. And it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking. Te gusta?
It's kind of what indentured servitude looks like, isn't it? What's more convincing do you need? The left is importing a permanent dependent class, and these white liberals pretend to be your friend, but they're using people like Redande did as their personal servants. These migrant keepers are disguising self-interest as generosity. And as you can see, you don't have to be in Hollywood to be a limousine liberal. Joining me now, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. Congressman, I really wanted to get you in after the vote, 214-213. It's a win. You had these three jokers, Mike Gallagher, who is retiring from Congress, Tom McClintock from California, and Ken Buck. I'm Colorado. I'm trying to figure out why they voted with the Democrats.
Well, you know, I asked Ken Buck, and actually I had a real long talk with Tom McClintock about it, and he said it's just a principle. He didn't think that Mayorkas' really his behavior and his activity and his really failure to enforce federal law rose to a standard of impeachment. I obviously vociferously disagreed because I was the first member of this Congress to file articles of impeachment on Alejandro Mayorkas, and I'm very glad to see Dr. Mark Green, the chair of Homeland Security. We got it done barely by the skin of our teeth, but the man has been impeached, and we made history the first time since 1876, and it's richly deserved in this case.
Yeah, for only second time in history. The last time was 1876. You point that out. Can I pivot a little bit to, because it's such a thin margin. I mean, the border is such a huge, every state, Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, exit polling shows that the people who are voting care mostly right now, mostly concerned with immigration and the border. And yet it was a 214, 213, tiniest of majorities. Reason why I bring that up, special election is happening right now. Polls are about to close in less than 40 minutes for that New York seat that was vacated by George Santos. How important is that seat for your caucus?
Well, as you can see, I mean, Eric, last week we did lose the vote. We tied 215 up. And then we had to have Blake Moore switch his vote simply so we could call it back up this week, which we did, and we were successful by only one vote. This is a vote, as you point out, we should be winning this by 100 votes. But the Democrats are in lockstep, putting their collective heads in the woke sand, ignoring the fact that we went from, think about this for a second here. We went in President Trump's administration, first 3 years, to about 1.7 million illegal encounters. To Joe Biden's same time frame, 8.5 million. We went, President Trump in FY 2017, there were 300,000 illegal encounters in the entire year. Joe Biden last month in December was 300,000. And it goes on and on like this. We had 450 Chinese nationals apprehended on the southern border under President Trump in a given year, his last year. Joe Biden, 24,000. Now, why is that? It's because there's been a willful and systemic refusal for Alejandro Mayorkas and Joe Biden to enforce current immigration law.
Yeah, so Biden came out with a statement post-vote, and he called it baseless. He called it unconstitutional, and he said the GOP, you guys are playing petty games with the border.
You know what he's doing? He's risking millions of American lives. We don't know who these people are. Do you honestly think, Eric, that these Chinese nationals that are mostly military-age men that are coming across the border, and by the way, there's been a spike in Russian nationals as well, that there aren't some of them that are sleeper agents, and it could be a tiny fraction. It doesn't need to be a lot. It could be 1/10 of 1%. But in a free society, they can do incredible damage. This is insane. This is costing the country about $155 billion a year to host foreign nationals that are here illegally. They're not respecting the rules and laws of the country that they're in. So it's Joe Biden all day long. How about this? Terror watch, Eric, one quick thing. Terror watch list. Under President Trump the last couple of years, there were only 3 people each year that were apprehended that were on the terrorist watch list. Last year was 169. This is what I'm talking about. The border is wide open.
Very quickly, about half a minute or so, we're going to cover this in a minute, but there's reports that MS-13, the deadly gangs, South American gangs, are maybe hooking up with a Venezuelan bloodthirsty gang as well on our streets in America, Miami and I believe New York specifically.
Yeah, it's just making Americans less safe. Our greatest calling is to protect our citizens. Joe Biden has abdicated his greatest calling, his greatest responsibility, and he's doing it willfully. And so is Alejandro Mayorkas, and so are their allies that they're colluding with on the Hill, unfortunately, the Democratic Party.
Yeah, we're going to leave it right there. Thank you so much, Congressman Pat Fallon. Appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.